श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम ओम सहनाववतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति शांति शांति. So yesterday we were seeing tarangattam dhruvam sindhu navanchati yathā tathā viṣayānanda vāñchate na sadananda rupatah. The idea is this. The disciple is asking the doubts. So the guru is explaining, see, you don't have any reason for running behind the sense objects. There is no reason for running behind the sense objects. So, A, why will we run behind the sense object? Because it gives happiness. Okay, good. So, let us say it gives happiness. There is happiness in sense objects. Normally, what we do is sense objects are inert. There can be no happiness in it. That's the logic we use. Now, he has already used that logic. Now, here he says, okay, let us suppose there is happiness in the sense object. There is happiness in the sense objects. But what is that happiness? Anyan matran upajivanti. All the other beings experience, have a small portion of that bliss of self. The bliss of self is absolute. Very small, minuscule portion is in the objects. Each object cannot have that absolute bliss. Then one coffee, over. You don't have to go for any satori treatments. So this not possible, because you have, after one coffee, you are running for that coffee at a later point of time, and if you don't get, you are dejected. If you get, you are happy again. So he says, viṣayānandam sindhu yathā tarangattam dhruvam navanchati. Like the ocean does not desire to gain or become the waves, because it is its nature. Ocean does not desire or want to be a wave, because it is its nature. Similarly, sadananda rupatah madananda rupatah te viṣayānanda vāñchana. As you are of the inherent nature of absolute bliss, there can be no desire for object of bliss, sense objects. The bliss from the sense object, bliss through the sense objects. So first, he accepted there is bliss and answered. That is called as abhyupagamavada. Abhyupagamavada. Abhyupagamavada means abhyupagamavada means accepting as it is. We are answering it. Now, next, in the next shloka, Guru is saying, seeming, even if you accept it as first happiness, now seeming happiness, seemingly real, even if you accept like that, there can be no desire for the sense objects. He says, piṣṭaṃ vyāpya guḍaṃ yadvanmādhuryaṃ nahi vāñchati pūrṇānando jagadvyāpya tadānandaṃ na vāñchati. Okay, even if you accept that bliss, since you are absolute bliss, you cannot run behind this small bliss, this small happiness. That is done. Now he says, piṣṭaṃ vyāpya, very beautiful example. Piṣṭaṃ vyāpya guḍaṃ yadvanmādhuryaṃ nahi vāñchati. pūrṇānando jagadvyāpya tadānandaṃ na vāñchati. Guḍaṃ means jaggery. Jaggery, piṣṭaṃ vyāpya. Piṣṭaṃ means you have taken the flour and you have made a paste. You have made a paste with what? Jaggery water. You mixed jaggery with water and you made a paste of a lump of this flour. Now, in the lump, where is the sweetness? In every corner. But does the flour does it have that quality of sweetness? No. Where did it come from? From the jaggery. Will the jaggery desire to gain that sweetness? Oh, that corner it will be sweet probably. This corner it will be sweet probably. No. So jaggery is that which imparted, which gave the sweetness to the lump. The jaggery is not going to desire to gain that sweetness. So yadvat na vāñchati, definitely it will never desire for that kind of a sweetness from the lump. Similarly, pūrṇānando jagadvyāpya, you who is the self, which is a absolute bliss, which pervades the whole creation. The absolute bliss is that which pervades the whole creation. Now, tadānandaṃ na vāñchati. Now, how will it desire its own bliss through that? It is impossible. So, first accepting the bliss. Now here there is seeming bliss, because the bliss is of the self, the sweetness is of the jaggery. Okay, real, seemingly real. Third is the logical conclusions, it is not real. So he says, dāridryāśā yathā nāsti, sampannasya tathā tava, brahmānandanimagnasya viṣayāśā sambhavet. So if you accept happiness in the object, or if you accept seeming happiness in the object, it is okay. If you accept there is no happiness in the object, then what does that mean? The object is of the nature of sorrow. So indirectly he is establishing that. How? See, dāridryāśā yathā nāsti sampannasya tathā tava brahmānandanimagnasya viṣayāśā sambhavet. Yathā, example, like sampannasya, a rich person. A rich person does not desire to stop being rich. He always wants to grow even richer. But will he desire to become a pauper, a poor fellow? Never. So he says, dāridryāśā. Dāridryāśā means a state of being pauper, poor. He will never desire to be poor. A rich fellow never desires to be poor. Nāsti, tathā. Similarly, brahmānandanimagnasya, one who is immersed in the brahmānanda, the bliss of the self, the bliss of the absolute bliss, one who is immersed in the absolute bliss. We already said, you touch it, you are drowning in it. You become part of it. You cannot be outside and enjoy it. So, you, one who is immersed in that bliss, tava viṣayāśā na sambhavet. For you, one who is immersed in that place, it is impossible to have desire for the objects. Okay. Now, three states. One is yes, happiness. Probably happiness. No happiness. Three states. I don't understand. Good. We have one example which fits all the three. Now we gave three examples to explain individually that the object is not something to be desired for. Now, if you don't understand, very good, I will give you one example which explains all these three. He says, viṣaṃ dṛṣṭvāmṛtaṃ dṛṣṭvā, viṣaṃ tyajati buddhimān, ātmānamapi tvaṃ, tyajānātmānamādarāt. Beautiful. Viṣaṃ dṛṣṭvā, amrtam dṛṣṭvā, viṣaṃ tyajati buddhimān, ātmānamapi tvaṃ, tyajānātmānamādarāt. Buddhimān, an intelligent person. Hope we are talking about us. A buddhimān. What will the buddhimān do? Viṣaṃ dṛṣṭvā, amrtam dṛṣṭvā. Viṣayam dṛṣṭvā, amrtam dṛṣṭvā. Oh, viṣaṃ it is. Oh, don't worry. Whether you call it viṣayam or viṣaṃ does not really matter. In Viveka Chudamani, Bhagavan Bhāshyakara says, viṣayam viṣatulyo hi jagadvyāpya samudbhavah. Viṣaya means objects. They are akin to, similar to poison. In the commentary, we have explained even the poison will only hurt you, only destroy you when you are in association, in close contact with it. Either you touch it or you taste it. But objects, even far off, they can kill you. We know. So that is the nature of poison or objects. Now, viṣaya. Let us take it as viṣaya. Okay. So he says, viṣaṃ dṛṣṭvā, there is a viṣaya, desired object, the object which you think gives you happiness. That is the object there. Then, amritam dṛṣṭvā, there is amrita, there is nectar, elixir. One pot, one cup, there is sweet or coffee, whichever you want. The other cup has a nectar. Now, wait. I add poison to nectar, nothing happens. So we are not going to discuss about that. It is not tainted by poison. It is never affected by poison. The self is not affected by the world. Similarly, the nectar is not affected by the poison. Let us forget about that. Let us come to the object, the sweet. The sweet, if I add poison, first, if I like the ladle, full ladle, heap of food, but when it comes, it just 2 drops. A little bit seeming, I didn't add poison. I made a act as though I am adding poison, seeming poisoned. Third, no, I'm not adding poison. So whether that sweet has poison, seemingly we are not sure about it, or we are very sure that it has no poison. So there is this, whichever you choose, does not really matter. 3 options for sweet. And there is nectar. When you are given the option, wherever that, even if you know that it does not have poison, that sweet does not have poison, which will you choose? So an intelligent person will choose only the nectar, giving up the objects, the viṣa, the poison. So similarly, tvaṃ, you, ātmānamapi dṛṣṭvā, after perceiving both self and non-self, having the hold on self, tyajāvabhāsako ātmānamapi, with great care. Ādhara means with great care. With great care, give up the non-self. After seeing the self, with great care, give up the non-self. So, after seeing the self, great care, give up the non-self. See this. After seeing the self, give up with great care, the non-self. Non-self is your body. Body, sense, organ complex is non-self, which you have been thinking as self till now. So he says, give that up. What? Giving the body, sense, organ complex up? Why? The problem is, now we are not worried. We are ready to give that up. But the problem is, the self will get destroyed. I cannot give up the body, sense, organ complex. The self will get destroyed. Why? Because the self is in the body. The Shaiva people following the Shaiva tradition, they say, I thought first the body is a useless thing. Then I saw the great Shiva inside him. Then after seeing the great Shiva, I am taking care of the body. So the Shaiva people or the yoga people, they take care of the body because the body is the means. Body is the temple where the self resides. So if I destroy the body, what happens? The self in it is also getting destroyed. Simple. You have that cup where the sweet is. I destroy the cup. Sweet is also destroyed. So I cannot do that. when this disciple thinks like that, the guru answers him, the logic you have to understand through direct concomitance and through indirect concomitance. Anvaya Vyatireka, we are establishing when the dehi means the self. When there is absence of the self, then there can be no existence of deha, body. When there is absence of self, there can be no body, deha. When there is a existence of body, there is existence of self. Without the self, there can be no existence for anything, because self is that which gives existence to everything. So, based on this, he is going to explain, see, whichever way the self is. If there is duality, if you accept duality, self, non-self duality, then you are doomed, because dvitiyād vai bhayam bhavati. Shruti says, when there is duality, then there is fear. Udaramantaram kurute atatasya bhayam bhavati. Even if you see a iota of duality, you gain fear. Meaning, see, you are the self. In a small portion of you, in the corner tip of your finger, there is non-self. Still, you are divided. You are limited by that non-self. Therefore, you are going to be non-eternal. Half of you, like Shiva and Parvati, half is Shiva and half is Parvati in Ardhanarishvara. Still, you are limited by the other half. Therefore, you are non-eternal. No. Fully means there is no self now. There is only non-self. So the self has become non-eternal already. It is destroyed. It is not non-eternal. It is already destroyed. Okay. The self is different from non-self. I'm not allowing anywhere close to my body. That is non-self. I am self. Still, you are limited by it because it exists. There are two truths. It exists, you exist. When that non-self exists and the self also has existence, why will I run behind the self with all these difficulties? It is easy to gain the non-self because it is available everywhere. So, whichever way you see the duality of self and non-self, there is only problem. Therefore, the Shruti declares, ātmaivaidam sarvam. All this, whatever you see, is only the self. Ekam eva advitiyam. Ekam eva advitiyam. There is no sajatiya, vijatiya, swagata veda. Duality of same class, duality of different class, duality in itself. Nothing exists here. Or the desha kala vastu paricheda. The duality caused by time, place, and causation. None of them exist. How do you say that? The Shruti comes and clearly says, Neha nana asti kinchana, iha nana nāsti. There is no kind of duality here. So you cannot hold on to anything. But I did say the self is like the water in the pot. I destroy the, because why I'm bringing this idea, water in a pot or something? Because we have the confusion that the embodiment, if the embodiment is destroyed, the embodied will be destroyed. When we say embodiment, immediately, because we have to show some example, we use the pot example. So you immediately understand the self is filled in the pot of embodiment. If the pot embodiment is destroyed, the self also becomes without a substratum. Therefore, it will get lost. It will get destroyed. So, what is the embodiment and embodied relationship? To understand that, he says, ghaṭāvabhāsako bhānuhu ghaṭanaśe naśyati dehāvabhāsakaḥ sākṣī dehanaśe naśyati. When you understand this, you will be very clear what this embodiment and embody is. Embodied is. Okay. ghaṭāvabhāsako bhānuhu ghaṭanaśe naśyati dehāvabhāsakaḥ sākṣī dehanaśe naśyati ghaṭāvabhāsakaḥ. So, if the embodiment is destroyed, the self is not destroyed. For that, the first example, the example he is giving us the pot which is illumined by Bhanuhu, sun. The sun illumines the pot. Okay. Now, if I destroy the pot, will the sun get destroyed? No. So, Bhanuhu ghaṭanaśe naśyati. The sun does not get destroyed just because I destroy the pot which it is illumining. Similarly, dehāvabhāsakaḥ sākṣī. Sākṣī, the self, is the one which illumines the body. Avabhāsakaḥ, illumines. Illumines means it is embodied by the body. Embodied by the body means sattva spurti pradatvam. We keep repeating this. Sattva spurti pradatvam. Sattva, existence. Spurti, experience. The self is that which gives it existence and experience. The self is that which gives the body sense organ complex existence and experience. Therefore, when the body sense organ complex get destroyed, the self is not going to be destroyed. It just illumines it. It just gives it existence. That's all. So, sākṣī dehānāśe naśyati. Okay. Why is it so? So he is giving explanation. Nirākāraṃ jagat sarvam nirmalam satchidatmakam dvaita bhāvāt katham kasmāt bhayam pūrṇānasya tevada. Therefore, there is no reason for you to be afraid. Oh, if the body is destroyed, the self, there is no reason for you to be afraid because you are the absolute. So he is explaining it in a different way. Nirākāraṃ jagat sarvam nirmalam satchidatmakam dvaita bhāvāt katham kasmāt bhayam pūrṇānasya tevada. Jagat sarvam nirākāraṃ nirmalam satchidatmakam. Jagat sarvam, all this. Ātmaivedam sarvam, he is taking that. Atma is all this. Jagat sarvam, all this world. Sarvam jagat nirākāraṃ, attributeless. Nirmalam, devoid of impurity, means it's pure. So, the satchidatmakam, the self, which is of the nature of existence, knowledge, bliss, which is formless, which is attributeless, impurityless. By that self is what is all this. That self is what is all this. Therefore, dvaita bhāvāt, that self is what all this means. Oh, this is also Sat. That is not what we say. There is nothing other than self. That is what we mean. When we say the self is all this, we are not saying pot is also self, cloth is also self. We are saying there is only self, there is nothing other than self. Since there is nothing other than self, therefore, dvaita bhava, there is no duality. When there is no duality, pūrṇasyate, for you one who is absolute, katham kasmāt bhayam vada. Katham, for what reason? Kasmāt, from what? Bhayam vada, fear. You please say. When you are the absolute, for what reason? From what? In what manner? Katham, in what manner? Or kasmāt, from what? You will gain fear. Because these two clauses are important for fear. For what reason? Kasmāt. And in which way? Katham. In which way and for what? For what reason? I'll explain this. Fire. reason, fire. Kasmat, reason, fire. Fire should give us, does it give us always the fear? No. We use the fire for cooking. So, if it is in the form of the fire in the stove for cooking, we are not afraid. Fire, the cause, cooking, the means, there is no fear. But if a house is burning, type is different. So, katham, type, kasmat, reason. So, if the type is different, then that fire gives you fear. Now, there is a situation. Reason, kasmat, reason, bomb. Katham, what type? Whatever type it may be, whether it is your bomb or others' bomb, it is always a reason for fear. So, katham, kasmat are two clauses for fear. When these two clauses are not sufficient or insufficient because you are absolute, these clauses don't fit in you. Therefore, what is the reason for fear? Oh, then how do I understand? So he says, Brahmadikam jagat sarvam tvai anande prakalpitam tvai eva leenam jagat tvam katham liya sevada. So my question is not answered. For that he says, I will clearly answer that doubt once for all. What is the question? If the embodiment is destroyed, the embodied will also get destroyed. That is your question. We said the sun illumines the objects. Just because the object is destroyed, the sun is not destroyed. Similarly, you are the one who gives existence to everything. So the object is destroyed, the existence is not destroyed. Now he is making it clear. Brahmadikam jagat sarvam tvayi anande prakalpitam. Tvayeva leenam hi jagat tvam katham liyase vada. Brahmadikam, right from the Brahmaji. Brahma here is not a neuter gender. Neuter gender Brahma is the Brahman, self. Brahma here is a masculine gender, the creator. The creator, right from the creator, Jagat Sarvam, all this creation. Anande Tvayi Prakalpitam. In you, who is of the nature of bliss, they are all superimposed. They are all imagined, superimposed. The whole creation is superimposed on you, the absolute bliss. Jagat Tvayi eva leenam hi. And that which is superimposed, that which is manifest from that, also merges in it. In Taittiriya Upanishad, the invocation sloka, Bhagavan Bhāshyakara says, Yasma jatam jagat sarvam yasminneva praliyate enedam dharyate chaiva tasmai jnānātmānamah, from which everything manifests, in which everything is sustained, and into which everything is merging. To that knowledge, absolute knowledge, I salute. And in the same Taittiriya Upanishad, later the Shruti itself says, Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayantya visamvishanti tad vijignyasa tad brahmeti, from which all these living beings emerge, and in which everything exists, and into which everything merge, desire to know that is Brahman. So we have to understand the all this creation, they merge in the cause. See, the rule is the effect merges in cause. You cannot say the cause has merged in the effect. Why cannot I say? I do see. What did you see? The clay merging in the effect pot. The gold merging in the effect ornament. No. The clay or the gold transformed into pot or ornament. They didn't merge. That is why you still call it as a clay pot. You still call it as a gold ornament. It didn't merge, it transformed. But whereas when you break the pot and say, this is pot clay, Where is pot here? It's only clay. You don't attribute the absent pot there with the clay. And always the effect merges in the material cause. Therefore, the whole creation, for the whole creation, you are the material cause. Abhinna nimitta upadana karana. The self is the material cause as well as the instrumental cause. Therefore, they all merge in the self. And for the self to merge in the effect is impossible. The self to merge in something also is impossible because self is not an effect of anything. So he says, Tvai eva linam tvam katham liyasevada. How can you merge? You cannot merge in the effect. You are not effect. Therefore, there is no cause you can merge in. Therefore, you cannot merge. Now, I can neither stay, I can neither merge. Who am I? How do I understand the truth? So for that, the Shruti, because we cannot specify anything as self, this is self. Because the moment you specify this is self, that becomes an object. An object becomes impermanent, non-eternal. Therefore, it cannot be the self. How do you then point out to the self? The Shruti understood this limitation and used a very clever means by saying neti, neti, not this, not this. By negating the gross and negating the subtle, the self, the Shruti teaches us the knowledge of self. When you knock off the gross and subtle, whatever remains as the substratum which cannot be negated, that is the self. How do you do that? So the Bhagavan Bhashakara here says, Nahi prapancho nahi bhutajatam, na chendriyam pranagano na dehaha, na buddhichattam na mano na garta, brahmaiva satyam paramatmarupam. Nahi prapanchaha nahi bhutajatam, na chendriyam pranagano na dehaha, na buddhichattam na manaha na karta, brahmaiva satyam paramatmarupam. Okay. So, nahi prapanchaha. 3 stages of negation of gross and subtle. First is the world, external world. Nahi prapanchaha, not these elementals, the creation. Nahi bhuta jatam, nor the elements. Elementals, the gross. Elements, subtle. So it is neither the gross creation nor the subtle creation, the 5 elements, panchabhuta. It is neither the product of 5 bhutas nor the cause 5 bhutas, nor neither the effect gross 5 bhutas nor the cause subtle 5 bhutas. That is negated. Now come to the body. So here he says, Nacha indriyam pranaganaha na dehaha. It is neither the deha, the body gross, or the subtle sense organs, vital air, etc. Sense organ, vital air is that which drives the body. So that is subtle body. Linga sharira, we call it. Causal, subtle body. So it is neither the gross body nor the subtle body. Okay. Now the external world is negated. This body sense organ complex is negated. Now the third stage is thought function. So it is neither the gross thought function nor the subtle thought function. What is gross thought function? So he says, na buddhi chittam na manaha, na karta. Na buddhi chittam manaha. It is neither the intellect nor the mind nor the chitta. Now these 3 are gross. And karta. Karta earlier we said as a adhyasa, superimposition. Now here karta is not superimposition. Karta here means ahankarta, ahankara, the ego. So the mind, the manaha, buddhi, chitta, they are gross and ahankara is subtle. We have to remember, antakarana is not divided into 4 parts, but according to the functionality, it is given different names. Same antakarana is given different names according to the functionality. So the ahankara is subtle among all of them. Why? Because only the first thought is I thought. Only with relation to the I thought you can have memory, chitta, I remember. Only with reference to the I thought you can say I know, buddhi. Only with reference to the I thought you can say I'm not sure whether it is like that or this, manaha. Naśyatmaka buddhi sankalpatmika manaha. So the other thoughts of mind, intellect and memory, they are gross and the ego is subtle. Okay, so I am neither the gross creation nor the subtle creation. I am neither the gross body or the subtle body. I am neither the gross thought function or the subtle thought function. Then who are you? Brahmaiva satyam paramatmarupam. I am that Brahman, which is absolute bliss and the truth. Absolute truth and the absolute, the real. Paramatmarupam means the real one. And all this which we said, which we negated, they are not real. They are anatma. So after saying that, then he is going to go on to say, who am I? We will see. Om pūrṇānando pūrṇidam pūrṇāt pūrṇamudachyate pūrṇasya pūrṇamadāya pūrṇamevāvasishyate. Om shanti shanti shanti.